Hello everybody, my name is Zen coming from Essence of Zen. Today we're going to show you how to possibly deal with an error for port 80 when you're dealing with web servers. So sit back, relax, and make sure your computer setting is set to admin because this is How-To.exe Windows Edition. Stay tuned. So off the bat, if you did not know, port 80 is basically the port that the web servers, depending on whichever one you use, is the most commonly used one, to listen for and connect to the client, that being the websites or web app or whatever you're dealing with, the code or the actual client. So it is basically used with the hypertext transfer protocol, which is, if you've ever noticed when you're dealing with the URL, the HTTP and sometimes HTTPS. So for my example, I'm going to be booting up PHP Storm, and we have some code here, and I'm going to go ahead and launch our node server, which you can see is actually set to node.js. Let's go hunting for the node.js. And we're listening on port 80, right there. So what we can do from here is go back to here, and I'm going to launch the server, and you're gonna see the error message that I get as it runs its stuff. Okay, you're seeing here I'm being thrown an error, and an error is, you're programmers, you know what an error thrown means. So we get here and it says, yada yada yada, unhandled error event. The error is the listen e-access. The error is listen EACCES. Not sure how you pronounce that or etc. But if you continue on, you'll see things like exports error exception, server.listen, the listen server listen, event emitter listen. It tells you what the lines of code is. Also, like right here, it tells you the node.js file, line 8, row 5, the .listen. And the port that we passed was 80. So basically what we're getting here is the error is pointing towards an issue with listening to the port, and the port setting is 80. That means something is blocking my port 80 access. Now if I change this to say 8080, and if I save that, it runs just fine. So because there's no error being thrown here, I know that the actual port is the issue. So I'm actually going to end the node server or the virtual server, and I'm going to change this back to 80. So what could be the issue? What could be blocking my port 80? And this is possible if you're using like the I forget the many different web servers that you can use for development and running a website or a web server on your own local machines and etc. But generally speaking, it could be a plethora of things depending on your version of Windows, your version of Linux, other things you may have running in the background. So a good list to always double check is things like SQL or SQL, server reporting services, web deployment agent services, branch cache, sync share services, the World Wide Web publishing services, and internet information. The list that I just gave are very common typical services that occupy or listen to your port 80. Now a great way to actually find this is if you go ahead and minimize that, we can actually bring up our Windows CLI, which is the command line interface. So we're going to go ahead and do run, and we're going to type in cmd, and we're going to reboot here. Now a useful command for this is, I do believe, netstat, right? So let's see, it'll show you a lot of various different things. So a better way to narrow down the services going on with your machine is you can use this command to find a specific port. So we're going to do a netstat space -ano space pipe space find str : space quotation, and we're going to do colon 80. My mistake, it doesn't need a colon. But if we go back and actually add one between the 80, we can see here that I have a few ports or a few things actually listening established and basically working on the port 80. So I'm looking and I can see a lot of TCPs and one UDP. So we can take this information, basically things like these ID numbers here, and then open up our task manager any moment now. So if you're not seeing all of these, make sure you have show more details listed. Let's do PID here, make this a little bit easier. Right, so for the PID for 4, we can see that it's our system, and that's not really much to go on, which is frankly annoying. Aside from that, we do have, is that 417112, which is Google Chrome, which is totally okay. There's another one, 54896, 54896, which is PHP Storm, also totally fine, which is actually close weight. And then 41076, should have suffers, which is Plex Media Server, which I do run in my home for my home entertainment. And the last one was 9824, which is Steam. All right, so I'm pretty sure what's causing these issues is basically the system, because that's the one that's currently listening, which we can now narrow down even more. If you're still unable to find any of the port things or services that might be using your port 80, another thing that you can do, but this will require a system reboot or a reset, and that is using the MDSCHED command via the CLI MDSCHED, and that'll basically ask you to check for memory problems on your next restart. This can actually be very useful. However, to me, it'd be a last step procedure. As I said in the beginning of the video, I gave you a list of typical services that occupy port 80. If you cannot find something that's occupying your port that's not one of those basic services, then I would do this. However, for me, because the only thing that are listening to my port 80 currently is PID4, which is my system, I know it's one of those things in that list that I stated earlier. So from here, what I can actually do is, again, go to run, and what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna run services.msc. When I'm here, I'm going to be giving a long list of a bunch of various things, right? So just to save time, I highly recommend you check from that list that I gave earlier in the video. That list is SQL Server Reporting Services, Web Development Agent Services, Branch Cache, Sync Share Services, World Wide Web Publishing Services, and Internet Information. Check those things in this, or check for those things in this list here, and see if one of them is the culprit. So for me, I'm pretty sure it's not SQL because I don't have SQL running. Look for Web Development Agent. I see right here that Web Development Agent Services is it's a remote agent service for Microsoft Web Deploy. I think I got this when I was testing out Web Matrix, Microsoft's web IDE / type of development environment, and it's running, and it's set to automatic, and it logs on as a network service. So I'm pretty sure for me this is the culprit. I'm gonna go on and also search for Branch Cache, which is not currently running. Sync. Right, there's no Sync Share Services. So I know for a fact that that's not the issue. World Wide Web. Nope. And last one, internet informations. And no. So the only issue, or the only possible culprit, is web deployment agent services or service. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and stop the service. It's going to do its little thing, and it's done. So I'm going to go back to PHP Storm, and I'm back on port 80. Let me double check and make sure that edit configurations, make sure node interpret. I'm going to relaunch again, and boom, EOZ website on localhost 80. Problem solved. So I've been Zen, coming from Essence of Zen. Feel free to like the video if you liked it, disliked it if you disliked it. If you disliked it, let us know why so we can better improve on these videos in the future. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below. Subscribe if you want to see more, and feel free to share this video with your friends who may have this issue as well, i.e. other classmates in college or high school computer classes perhaps. But whatever, I'll see you in the next video, but until then, as always, take care.
March winds and April showers make way for sweet May flowers, and then comes